Hello,
Hello,
my name is
my name is
Josh
Josh
Wilson,
Wilson,
and I'm an
and I'm an
engineer
engineer
operator with the
operator with
Houston
the
Fire
Houston Fire
Department.
Department.
I have
I have
18 years of
18 years of
experience, and I
experience, and I
currently
currently
drive
drive
Engine
Engine
56 on the
56 on the
northeast side of
northeast side of
Houston.
Houston.
As a
As a
student
student
at West
at
Texas
West Texas
A&M
A&M
in the
in the
Emergency
Emergency
Management
Management
Administration
Administration
program,
program,
I've been
I've been
assigned the
assigned the
task
task
of
of
presenting a
presenting a
case
case
study
study
on a
on a
disaster
disaster
that's
that's
occurred within
occurred
the
within
last
the
20
last 20
years.
years.
I've
I've
chosen the
chosen the
West
West
Texas
Texas
fertilizer
fertilizer
plant
plant
explosion,
explosion,
and the
and the
results of my
results of my
research will be
research will be
demonstrated
demonstrated
in the
in the
following
following
PowerPoint
PowerPoint
presentation.
presentation.
Enjoy.
Enjoy.
The West Texas Explosion, April 17th, 2013, a case study. West Texas, established 1892, a farming and ranching community. The Katy Railway came through land owned by Mr. Thomas West, built a train depot that increased traffic in the area. June 11th, 1892, it was officially organized into a town. Czech immigrants flocked to the area to farm the land. West Texas, 2013. Population 2,800. Elementary school, junior high, middle school, and high school campuses. One 50-unit apartment complex, one nursing home, a residential neighborhoods, and a town square with multiple businesses, and the West Fertilizer Company. The West Fertilizer Company, founded 1962. The company stored and distributed fertilizers, chemicals, grains, and other farming supplies owned by Adair Grain, Inc. Inventory as of April 2013. 40 to 60 tons of F-GAN fertilizer-grade ammonium nitrate in a building and 100 tons in a rail car. 17 tons of anhydrous ammonia, 45 tons of potash or soluble potassium, 70 tons of diammonium phosphate, 60 to 70 tons ammonium sulfate, and 17.5 tons of zinc sulfate. April 17th, 2013, 7:29 p.m. Citizens report signs of smoke and fire at the West Fertilizer Company to 911. Response: the West Volunteer Fire Department responded to the scene with 2 engines, 2 initial attack apparatus, a water tender, and brush trucks. Initial fire attacks used 2.5-inch hose lines using tank water in an effort to extinguish visible fire through the northeast doorway of the bagged fertilizer room. The second arriving engine attempted to lay a 4-inch supply line from the hydrant by the school. After laying all 1,000 feet of 4-inch hose, they discovered they were over 600 feet short of the fire. The initial engine then attempted to reverse lay to complete the 4-inch supply line, but did not execute the task. Dispatch requested additional units via mutual aid from surrounding departments. Mutual aid departments included Abbott, Bruceville, Eddy, Martins, and Navarro Mills. With the fire spreading rapidly from the lower level to the upper level of the northeast corner of the 2-story fertilizer building, the environment became explosive. "7:51 p.m. The West Fertilizer plant exploded. The explosion. It had the force of 7.5 to 10 tons of TNT, measured 2.1 on the Richter scale. It was felt more than 30 miles away. 350 out of 700 homes were impacted, 142 destroyed, and 51 with major damage. A nursing home was destroyed with 128 residents evacuated. 50-unit apartment complex was destroyed. West Middle School and other school buildings damaged. The aftermath and response. The groups affected. The entire town of West was devastated by the explosion. Elderly occupants of destroyed nursing home, residents of a 50-unit apartment complex were displaced. All of the students and staff of the West school system, approximately 150 families whose homes were destroyed or damaged, and the West Fertilizer Company employees out of work. Families of 15 killed and 260 injured. Casualties: 15 deaths, 12 were first responders. 262 injured and taken to hospitals for treatment. Hundreds of people with minor injuries that did not seek treatment at a hospital. Financial losses. Insurance Council of Texas estimated damage to exceed $100 million. The mayor of West stated $17 million in damage to infrastructure, estimated $86 to $96 million to repair and rebuild the school system and keep it functioning. Long-term effects. More regulation and oversight on hazardous, flammable, and explosive or potentially dangerous chemicals and substances. Identifying facilities with massive and or catastrophic potential and preparing by developing emergency response plans. More training and education and better standard operating procedures. New building codes specifying minimum distance from dangerous facilities that is safe to build residential or businesses. More frequent inspection of dangerous facilities to ensure they are up to code in accordance with OSHA, EPA, and the Fire Marshal's Office. Lessons learned from this disaster. Need for the adoption of and enforcement of fire codes and hazmat programs for new and existing structures where hazardous chemicals are stored. Need and importance of standard operating procedures for firefighters and first responders. More training and improved education. More pre-fire planning and emergency response strategy developed and practiced to include mutual aid departments likely to respond. The incident management system needs to be implemented. It assists in coordination, control, and command of emergency operations, especially in complex incidents. You need better use of strategy and tactics. Do not approach a major hazmat fire or incident as you would a house fire. Make firefighter and first responder safety and accountability top priority. If you're injured, it's very difficult to help people in need. Train more. It will save lives. What emergency management activities took place or could have taken place to better deal with this disaster? Incident began as fire. Structure and dangerous contents not pre-planned. Incident command was not prepared for this type of incident. The knowledge of this type of facility should have guaranteed pre-planning and better preparation. Standard volunteer response up until initial 911 call. This facility should have warranted a much greater response based on better SOPs. Extinguishment efforts were futile and water supply never established due to nearby hydrant being a quarter-mile away. This type of facility should be mandated to have adequate water available to combat any possible incident at the facility. After explosion, emergency manager took over as incident command by necessity. This type of incident, due to its sudden dramatic growth in size and scope, would have run more efficiently had the incident management system been implemented and followed accordingly. Massive evacuation of town by those not injured. Small towns still had to relocate a large number of families to temporary housing. After the explosion, many people just left in search of temporary or permanent housing. An information helpline was established and helpful in the recovery. Coordination of triaging hundreds of injured and the transport of many to area hospitals. Following SOPs and better use of the incident management system could have lessened the burden of this task. Response was actually too large and some help was turned away. The establishment of a resource sector and resource officer would have relieved this burden from the incident commander. The explosion immediately changed the scope of the incident from a fire to a mass casualty incident with fatalities and numerous injuries. There is no doubt that this would be a difficult incident to manage for the most well-trained and prepared emergency manager. After the explosion, search and rescue efforts began and damage assessments were conducted across the city. The city's infrastructure was assessed and efforts began to restore the damaged infrastructure ASAP. Governor Perry declared McLennan County a disaster area, and on April 22nd, President Obama issued an emergency declaration or a presidential disaster declaration. What conditions currently stand in the impacted area today? Today, the new West Rest Haven nursing home is the only facility near the site of the explosion. A park was dedicated in honor of one of the first responders that lost his life. The park is named Parker's Park and is named after his son. May 2016, the ATF announces the cause of the fire that caused the explosion at the West Fertilizer plant to be intentional. No one has been arrested for this arson as of October 30th, 2016. The end. Thank you.